So we look at how it worked under the law. We saw that you can be righteous and have your righteousness taken away. We now see that the Spirit can be taken away. But there is a covenant. We do want to look at the covenant that's made with Moses here. And covenants are sometimes conditional. Covenants are sometimes unconditional. Let's take a look at the Mosaic covenants. The covenant under the law, Exodus chapter 19.
All right.
Exodus 19, verses 5 and 6. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So is this an
election?
This is about election, yes. Is this a conditional covenant or an unconditional covenant?
This is conditional.
This is conditional. If ye obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant. Now, with this conditional covenant, will God cut them off?
No. Not forever.
That's the correct answer. There's our correct
Temporarily.
answer. He will, and that's what he has done. Mm-hmm. If they don't keep his covenant, if they rebel against God, God will cut them off. But never forever, not with Israel. Because there are already other everlasting covenants in place that God will not go against. But this being a conditional covenant, God will cut them off, but those everlasting covenants, yes, those everlasting covenants will come back into play and bring Israel back in.
Romans 9 through 11.
That's it. Especially Romans 11 talks about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the sign of this covenant. Exodus chapter 31. All right, Exodus 31, verses 13 through 17. So, it has a sign. Exodus 31, verses 13 through 17. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that so shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy of the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord hath made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
All right, so you just finished that passage there. And so in verse 13, it says Sabbaths, but then everywhere else it looks like it just says Sabbath. So there is a plural and then there's singular.
Right, so what you have is you have that weekly Sabbath every Saturday, and then you have ceremonial Sabbaths, which fall on special Saturdays that the Jews were to keep during special feasts and so on and so forth.
And is there any way that in this section here we could insert the church or New Testament believers and it fits?
Yeah, and this is another big place where we see a contrast. Let's go to the book of Colossians. Once again, we've talked about how it's the Jews that get the sign. And this is a sign. Signs are not for the church. We're the people that walk by faith. It's the Jews that are given these signs. And this is plainly called a sign here. So let's go to Colossians chapter 2. And let's start in verse 13. And you being dead in your sins, and the uncircumcision of your flesh, not being a Jew, right? Mm-hmm. Hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses. Gentiles,
that
Christians.
Quickened together means brought alive?
That's right.
Okay.
Brought alive. Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances. The law, right? Mm-hmm. That was against us, which was contrary to us. He took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. And having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. Christ kept the law, and he was the final sacrifice of the law, which is an awesome thought. Now look what it says here. Verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat, such as meat offerings, or in drink, such as drink offerings, or in respect of an holy day, those are all the Jewish holy days, or of the new moon, or of the
Sabbath days.
Paul could not be more clear that this is completely different. This is the sign to the Jews. This is how they know they're God's people.
Mm-hmm.
This has nothing whatsoever to do with God's people in the New Testament, the church, where there is neither Jew nor Greek. It's completely different for us.
So
That's a big contrast.
Again, another reason to rightly divide and understand who you're talking
That's
to,
right.
what you're reading.
If you don't rightly divide this, you've got a major conflict
Mhm.
going on here between the church and what the Jew is told there, where they're told to be put to death if they're not keeping the Sabbath. That's a major conflict.
Also, he says that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth. So if it wasn't 6 days, how else would he have said it?
Yes. Are you talking evolution-wise?
Yes.
That's exactly right. So here we have it outside of Genesis chapter 1. Because I always say, Genesis 1, it's allegorical and stuff.
This is about as plain as it could get.
And here we are. Exodus is saying it. When you get to Jesus, Jesus says it. I mean, this 6 days is repeated over and over and over again throughout the Bible in literal text.